Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we're talking all products in 2025, all future Yu-Gi-Oh! Just new stuff we don't know about yet, and I want to speculate on basically all of it and give you guys my thoughts and opinions on everything yet to come. We're going to be talking about the stuff we just don't know about. We have a couple products that we already can see from the OCG what they have coming, but we have a lot of stuff unannounced, unsure, and I'm very curious where Konami takes it, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I've got, I don't even know here, I didn't even count prior. I've got like 11 different products that I think came out, in 2024 that we have not had much information about that we're going to speculate on. So let's get into this thing. There's so much stuff here to go into. Let's start with the big ones, right? Let's start with core sets. We have Duelist Advanced announced. That is the core set that comes after Alliance Insight. I think the biggest thing for this, and it's going to be so hard to predict, like core sets have everything. I'm not going to speculate too much on everything except one particular point. That point being, this is set to be our new series, the first core set in the new series of core sets, which means they might be transitioning away from the Sinful Spoils Diabellstar lore and into a new set. I don't know what that's going to mean. It could mean one of two things because with the announcement of this new core set, it's going to line up right with Konami's new short form animated series where they are animating different archetypes and lore stuff in the history of Yu-Gi-Oh. They've already laid out like the pick of archetypes that they want to like do that based on. And so it seems like with the announcement of this set that they're gonna release some support for some of the archetypes that have been shown in some of those animated series. So for me, I just don't know what that means for us. They could do both. They could make an entirely new lore set like Diabellstar, like Visa Starfrost, like Albaz, all that stuff. Or they just say, you know what, instead of doing fully new lore like that, let's actually do a series where we're actually backtracking on all these archetypes that we're giving, cool shorts to, and basically just give support for them. And that's like our new lore series going forward. I don't know. They could do both. There's room for legacy support and new archetypes in every core set. It's such a huge set. So they could do both. I just don't know for sure. We just don't know enough on it at this point yet to go into that. So keep that in mind. I think this is really interesting. I can't wait to find out more about this set as we get closer to it. But for now, that's really all we have to speculate on. Next up here, V-Jump promos. I know we don't get V-Jump promos in the TCG, but sometimes they're actually really quite good. And I guess promos in general, because I guess there are some promos that aren't V-Jump promos that end up being really good. For me, it was Magistus last year. There weren't a ton of crazy ones, but Magistus Chirozzo, if Snake Eye was still really part of the metagame right now, I think they would take a legit look at Chirozzo and maybe find a home for it. Otherwise, you read it and you're just like, oh, this could just be a really useful card in certain decks that it put monsters in their spell and trap zone. So specifically for Magistus, and looking forward into this year, Magistus is still the main focus of their manga series of the Magistus lore, and hopefully that means another 2 or 3 cards at least throughout the year, maybe premium pack down the line. That's another product we'll talk about in a little bit, but hopefully we just see some more gems, right? Chirozzo was a gem. We also saw Spoon for Magistus was a promo last year. Like that card's awesome. And just they're not all bangers, but a couple of them end up being like pretty solid. So hopefully we get some cool stuff down the line. That's basically it. All right, next up, Duelist Pack. We already did an entire video talking about like what Konami needs to do with Duelist Pack. They need to do something with this. We don't have one announced yet for this year. It would be getting announced pretty soon, I would think, based on when it came out last year. And so that leaves me in a position of like, they have to do one of 3 things. Because these have not been very successful products in the past. And that leads me to think Konami could end up dropping it. But that's one of 3 things they have to do. They either have to scrap the whole thing, right? Get a new product in here that has a better structure to it that can help it just sell better. When you have a structured product like Duelist Packs or like deck build packs, you really only have 3 things a collector, player, whatever, anybody in the market to potentially buy Yu-Gi cards to even be interested in. So if you don't execute it well, they're going to have no reason to buy that product whatsoever and pass on it completely. So they're either going to have to swap it out for an entirely new product they think is going to appeal more to the people they're trying to sell these to. Two, they're going to have to change the structure of this. In the past, they did 5 or 6 duelists with only like 3 or 4 cards apiece. Now they're doing 3 duelists with 7 cards apiece. So trying to execute better, trying to give better support overall per character. Um, right. So they might need to adjust the structure and maybe go back to doing more characters and maybe just go back to some of the characters that still need the help and just try to make better quality cards overall, even if it's less cards, and just give more points of, enticing people to buy it. Or lastly, just execute it better. Even if they don't change anything, if you're going to pick 3 characters, make their support really good. I thought Duels of Brilliance was actually a pretty good product. I thought all 3. I mean, Trickstar kind of lagged behind, but at least 2 of the 3 legitimately competitive notes for a little bit. Now, we took so long to get this product that they're probably power crept out already. And there's even a generic search card in 7th Tachyon. So, you have a chase card. You got 2 archetypes that like had some competitive viability out the gate. They just took too long to print it here in the TCG, but still like not the worst one. They just need to execute better. You can't have like the Earth Duelist pack or the Fire Duelist pack where just like you're just not that competitive. It's just not very good overall. So we'll see. Keep that in mind though. They either will announce a new one hopefully in the next couple of months. If not, a different product that's going to replace the duels packs going forward. We'll see. Tactical Tridex, and these aren't super relevant. Like these aren't directly relevant to us, just because we didn't even get the Tactical Tridex. And there were no new cards in the Tactical Tridex. It's basically a fully built deck that you can pick up and actually have a semi-competitive strategy out the box. But what we saw was, hey, wait a couple core sets, and your archetypes that got picked in here are going to get 2 new cards apiece in a couple months, and they can be really good. The Live Twin support's really good. The Eldritch support's pretty decent. The Cyber Dragon stuff I'm still on the fence about, but they also got like Clockwork Knight and they might get more stuff. We'll see. But like that's something to keep an eye on. That if they are going to be more tactical Tridex this year, they'll get announced pretty soon. And even if we have to wait a little bit longer, you can at least be like, oh, those 3 archetypes are probably getting support in the next year. Awesome. Cool for them. Good for them. So keep an eye on that. Animation Chronicle. We have not had Animation Chronicle announced yet. I would say last year's is one of the more lackluster ones. I thought the Allure Queen stuff was kind of cool. And there's like one really good Ancient Gear card. There's one really good Gimmick Puppet card. But outside of that, there really wasn't that much good stuff. And in the past, we've actually seen some pretty nice Animation Chronicles before. The year before, we had, I think, Bonfire and that crazy trap card that Labyrinth plays. I can't remember off the top of my head. But we've seen really good cards in Animation Chronicle before. And these sets get me really excited because we're still missing a handful of Link Vrain's archetypes. We have still not gotten Armatos Legio. That players scream for that every single year. We still have not gotten it. I scream for ninja support. I know there's a couple characters that use ninja cards that have still never been printed. There's so many out there. So it's good. It's good that they're slowly getting some of those anime cards ported over to the TCG. So hopefully we have everything at some point way down the line. And I can't wait to see what they come up with this time, because they usually reveal like the cover, and then you can kind of take some notes based on what's on the cover of what's going to be in the set. So hopefully that's what we get this year. A deck build pack for later in the year. It's important to note that even though we have Justice Hunters, the new deck build pack, and we just got their like artworks revealed somewhat recently, we don't have a second one announced, and we may not get a second one announced. It's not 100% certain. Last year, we only got Crossover Breakers at the back half of the year. We did not get a deck build pack early in the year. So this year, getting one earlier in the year makes me think we'll get one in the back half, but it's not 100%. Maybe they would just want to go to a format of only doing one a year because they're pumping in too many archetypes and all this. But who knows? Who knows? We have to wait and see. That's way further down the line. But for now, sure. The Crossover Breaker is one of the best deck build packs we've seen in a long time. We'll see how Justice Hunters pans out. And then, we'll see if they get another one later down the line. Structure decks. I've made an entire video talking about structure decks as well. This is an interesting one. I don't fully understand why Konami isn't doing like 2 to 3 structure decks a year. It just feels like such a solid product that like is a guaranteed sell. They just feel like they move, especially when they execute them well. Like Blue Eyes, this structure deck is executed so well. I mad respect. I don't even like Blue Eyes as a player, but you made the archetype really good with the support. The support execution was just so solid, so good quality. You picked an archetype that is a super fan favorite, so even if it was only mid quality instead of great quality, it still probably would have sold. Um, and in structure deck form is just so approachable, right? Spend 30-40 bucks to get a play set of these, three of these boxes, and boom, you are just immediately in there with a really, really respectable competitive deck. So I don't know why they don't do more of these. Just feels like they could take archetypes that really need support and really push them all the way up, and these would be like guaranteed movers. um but whatever, it is what it is. So we should be getting one next year, or this later this year. At first I would have guessed Cyber Dragon, because Cyber Dragon was technically next in the like revamp lineup of archetypes that got old structures that are getting them revamped. But they already got Clockwork Knight and two support cards in Alliance Insight, so I doubt they would give them 8 more cards on top of that. So I think we're kind of like, I really don't know if we get a structure deck what it's going to be on, which is kind of exciting. So we're sitting and waiting until one gets announced here. Terminal World. These sets have been really cool, right? We've seen Gem Knights playing pretty well in the OCG. Little bit of dinosaur stuff, a little bit of Necros stuff. The pack, I will say, Terminal World 1 has performed pretty, like, has outperformed Terminal World 2. But I will say, like, nobody reads these cards and doesn't say these are pretty good support cards. Even if it didn't make all these archetypes, top tier competitive, um, they've done a good job with the support overall, especially for how outdated some of these archetypes have been. So if they choose to do another Terminal World, do a Terminal World 3, 4 more archetypes here. I'm crossing everything my body has, wishing for, uh, you know, Zephyra more than anything. Zephyr is my number one pick. I'd also love to see Evil Swarm, and then if the Tellers are viable to end up in there, I'd love to see Teller Knights or Constellar either, because they might just make support that kind of helps both at the same time. Those would be my 3 picks, but you know, I'm still excited to see, because I never liked Gem Knights before, and now I like them because I think they did such a cool job with the new support. So I'm excited to play them. But yeah, excited to see if we get a Terminal World 3 announced, and if so, what 4 archetypes will be in there. Premium pack, we're into December. We are late in the year now. Um, this is good. Let's get rid of that. Hold on. There we go. This pack was cool this year. I thought this pack was actually like pretty impressive. There were some really solid Magistus cards in here, whether it was the Bear Magic or the Extender Crowley or the new Fusion Boss Monster. All 3 of those cards have been good upgrades for Magistus. They're not all the way there, but those cards will be important in the future if they ever make that deck good. There was also like the Ice Doll stuff. They just executed this pretty well. And especially if Magistus is still technically like the focus of the OCG stories, manga, I would expect them to get more Magistus cards here at the end. And this may be the last drop, because what we saw is that Skystriker basically had like a 2-year run under like as part of the OCG stories, and it culminated with I think their final wave of support being in a premium pack, and I think 2020, like the 2024 premium pack. So hopefully we get maybe a couple more promos throughout the year for Magistus, and then maybe we finish with 2 or 3 more cards in Premium Pack 2026, and Magistus is finally out here and playable by that time. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, but we'll see. And lastly, Quarter Century Trinity Box. I know these last couple of products we just got like a month ago, so it's kind of weird to talk about them already. But if we're trying to talk about everything down the line for 2025, this has to be included. This is one of the standout products, which is so weird because it's such a small product. But when you have a product that really only has 3 selling points, right? 2 new Punk cards, 2 new Dragon Maid cards, 2 new Orcus cards. There's some reprints in there as well, but as far as new stuff goes and appealing to people who are looking for new hype cards, this is a home run. Orcus is now tied for like the best deck in the game with 2 new cards. Mwah. Dragon Maid, if you haven't checked out the most recent Road to the King, Dragon Maid is like the ninth best deck, which I know isn't like crazy, but like for so many people telling me that like Dragon Maid's bad and like the two new cards aren't good enough, it's performing like a top 10 deck in the OCG. So that's a win. And even Punk, I think Punk has more potential than it's kind of shown so far. I don't know if like the OCG just doesn't like Punk that much, or I don't even know. They only have two E-Tele. There's some small things, but I actually think Punk has more potential in the TCG to actually end up as like a legit, really high potential rogue deck and go from there. But regardless, I think the overall point with the quarter century Trinity boxes, this is kind of a set they've done every year. They do this like little Christmas set where it's like 6 cards total being printed. A lot of times they've done like main character cards. All the main characters get like one new e-hero card for Jaden, one little dark magician card for Yugi, all that stuff. And they just end up being okay. Some of them are like, okay, maybe this deck will play it. Uh, they finally just decided, let's just execute. Let's just make bomb cards. Let's just make awesome ass cards and let's drop them in this set, and it's going to be super desirable. Boom, one of the best decks in the game. Boom, another top 10 deck in the game, and even Punk with good rogue potential. Like that is just such good execution, and these are archetypes people like. There's so many archetypes like that. If next year they wanted to throw Vanquish Soul in there, right? Punk and Dragon Maid, I believe, were both part of deck build packs. So Vanquish Soul, part of a past year deck build pack, like 2 really good Vanquish Soul cards. That's all they need. They're actually not that far out of power creep. So hopefully this showed Konami. I really hope that this showed Konami that I hope it just performed better, basically, is what I'm saying. So that way even Konami looked at the numbers financially and we're like, oh, I guess we just have to make this set awesome every year now and not just make it, legacy support for main characters that don't even get like good cards. It'd be different if they were making like really good hero cards, really good dark magician cards every year, and stuff like that. But like when they're just making mid support for main characters rather than just like actually awesome support for archetypes that need it, uh, I think it just has proven to be the way to go. So hopefully they do this same formula next year. And that's it. That's everything I have to talk about for today, guys. I'm really excited to find out what's going on in the next couple months. We're done with Alliance Insights. We're probably going to be in this little slower patch of news, but we will get like some big things. We'll get some of the new deck build pack archetypes fully revealed. We're going to get some V-Jump promos. We're going to get new sets. Some of these sets may be announced. We can talk about them when they do, but I'm excited to see where we go. A lot of fun stuff coming. Thank you so much for watching, as always. You guys know I like doing these videos where I kind of scope out, into the future and do some kind of more general speaking on products as a whole rather than like very specific individual cards. But hopefully you guys do too. So let me know if you like these types of videos in the comment section down below. Let me know what you're most excited for. Let me know what you want out of this like lineup. What are you hoping for the most from these things? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that down below. But I'm out of here. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.